In this video, I will show you how to create the rail monitoring section without having to have an actual installation in the field, but still be able to get the first experience of creating it, doing some analysis by examining the charts, rail section status, reports, and so on. To see the rail module in T4D, a license must be available, and you have to have at least one sensor created. For this purpose, we're going to use manual sensors and manual data import, and I created a track file and sensors next to it, as well as the measurements which can be applied to those sensors to have some data in the charts. The data is in the local coordinate system. The first thing which has to be done is create a project in T4D. We'll call it test project. After that, we can go to Home, Sensors, Data Entry to create the manual sensors. By clicking on Create Manual Sensors, new window opens, where we can create the sensors using northing, easting, and elevation. I already prepared the data, so there's no need to download the template. You can simply drag and drop or upload the created Excel file. The file contains the coordinates of the measured prisms, which are installed left or right from the left and the right rail. After uploading the file, you must select the sensor type, which is a target displacement in this case, and for data type coordinates, as we have coordinates of the targets in the Excel file. By clicking on Save, sensors in T4D are created. Since T4D uses the latest available measurement for the calculation of the parameters, and at the moment we have no measurements which apply to the sensors, we have to add one before going into the rail monitoring module. But as you can see, the module is available now. To add the measurements, go to Sensors, Data Entry, and click on Upload Data Excel file. Simply drag and drop or upload the first measurement and click on Apply to Sensors. These measurements are then applied to sensors, and when you go back to one specific sensor, you can see the last observation. Now we can go into the rail monitoring module and create the rail monitoring section. By clicking on the plus icon, a new section can be created. I'm not going to go into details about the units, chainages, and parameters. There is a user guide and webinar available, but if you do have specific questions, feel free to reach out to our support team or to me directly. The track geometry tab is where we upload the track file containing the rail track geometry as a result of our as-built survey done using the track gauge survey app or Guido measurement system. The track file is a 3D representation of the rail track geometry containing all of the geometry information we need in our rail monitoring project. The Chainages tab is where the 3D representation of the track geometry and coordinates of the monitoring prisms, in other words, sensors in T4D, come together. T4D automatically recognizes and sets up the sensors on the according chainage across the whole track. We are calculating the parameter based on the real rail track geometry, and the offsets between prisms and the top of the rail are calculated automatically. Next step is where you select the parameters you are interested in. Let's select twist, displacements, and versins and define thresholds for them. We're going to disable the other ones and leave canned and observation date to only be visualized. Last step is adding who is going to be informed if there's a threshold limit reached, and that's it. The rail section is created. In a few seconds after refreshing, you should have data from your first measurement available. Now let's add other measurements to have some more data to look into. Now we have 8 measured epochs, and we can do some analysis by looking at the rail section status, looking at charts over chainage. We can pin the epochs of interest, switch between parameters, do some analysis. We can also download the report, recalculate offsets, and so on. If the rail monitoring section is disabled and settings or parameters are changed, new measurement must be created and uploaded to change to take effect. This video and data is meant for getting the first experience using T4D Rail. For more information, check the Monitoring Power Hour webinar and T4D Rail user guide.